Good afternoon, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the weekly energies for today's Monday's Musings. Now, yes, it is just coming up for the afternoon. I'd love to say that there was a reason for the lateness of this video, that I was waiting for the morning period to be over. And to an extent, yes, I do feel that, but I also do feel that it's an end of making things, yes, bigger than they need to be, making things more in-depth or have more reason, insight, guidance than they actually need. The reason this video is being done at 12 o'clock in the afternoon is because I've been doing normal things, everyday things, scrolling through social media, drinking tea, journaling, just taking my time with things, and that feels really important this week. There's another reason why this video is late, and I had to wait until I felt like I wanted to do it, which is common sense, right? We don't do things unless we want to do them. But actually this week, really being aware of the impact that makes on what it is we share, we have to really be in a place of authentically wanting to do it. Now, the reason I didn't want to do the video wasn't because I don't like recording what's going on in the week and you know, looking at the energies, but because I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want to get involved in what was going on outside of me, because I felt really chilled and really relaxed. For myself, since the Scorpio full moon, there's been some massive changes, but nothing physically, externally inside of me. The changes have been my own shifts. There's been just like a flip switch of, okay, so if I do stay out of where I'm not needed, I can get on with X, Y, and Z, and actually that energy matches me a lot more. And these are things that we know, but this weekend for me feels like there's been a real big completion on a lot of lessons. Nothing that I can pinpoint exactly, more my own actions, yes, more my own actions and how they have been aligned with who I am, how authentic they have been. And that feels really fundamental this week in particular, is to really look at how aligned we are with our actions and how aligned our actions are with what it is we're here to do and our highest potential. You know, I've grown up in a family that have gained great strength from tribulations and trials and hardships. And sometimes when there aren't those initiations, shall we say, when those initiations aren't relevant or the initiations have changed somehow, I can feel quite lost, or I used to. Yes, I used to. Very important this week, we see actually where we are. I used to feel quite lost and need almost the drama to initiate that strength within me, to initiate that healing within me, to initiate that birth. And what is really key this week is that the very things that are going to get us into labour have changed. The very things that are going to help us deliver what we're trying to deliver have changed. And the question is, have we? Have we changed? Can we recognize there are other ways to bring about what it is we're trying to achieve? So one thing that really came through this morning was that it was time to be the Chicana, it was time to be the bridge, time to be the hollow bone. And obviously that's going to be different for everybody. For me, that's very much about witnessing, that's very much about stepping back and holding space and being okay with that. That is enough, more than enough. For everyone, it's going to be different. So this week is going to be a great time to really figure out what it is that's being asked of you, how you can bring what you're trying to achieve into reality, not to get involved in what everyone else is doing. And what I see is the analogy of a test coming up and people trying to look over the shoulders of others and copy. What are you being asked to create? What are you being asked to bring? So hold on. I didn't think there'd be anything to say. And that's the proof is in the pudding, right? When we actually connect to our higher self, the stuff that comes through for us and to be shared is so organic, just scratch my lip, but it's so organic. The other thing, I don't know if you can see, my eyes are very, very puffy. This weekend I threw a surprise party for my sister's 40th, and it was on the day, the anniversary of putting my mother into the ground, putting her ashes into the ground, and it felt really, really important to celebrate and transmute the energy of loss with the energy of birth, the energy of sadness with the energy of celebration. And it really took some doing for us all to do that. You know, it was karaoke. Eurovision tomorrow. There was a lot of singing going on, a lot to do with the voice there, and expressing our emotions to music, because music heals, right? And there was a lot of songs that were relevant to my mother and to those that we have lost over the last few years coming up randomly. And, you know, they brought up emotions. They triggered, they initiated these emotions within us, and we all transmuted that energy in our own way. So we danced, we sang, we cried. These are what are seen as healing gifts and tools, but actually it's the human body. It's the body's ability to be a vessel for the change that is trying to come through. By allowing what needs to be released, we make space for the love that's behind it. And that's exactly what happened. Yes, it was hard, and we all shared memories and fond stories, and there was a lot of sadness there that we couldn't express that love to those that we had lost, so we did it in different ways. And that really feels like key this week, to really look at different ways of expressing your love. Not love for others, not love for life as such, but the very love that you are, looking at different ways. So I myself have just found out that next year onwards I may not have a space to work from, and initially that was a bit of a knee-jerk reaction of, oh, I'm just starting to sort it out. I'm just starting to be really happy with where I work. And, you know, that's part of the process. That started to help me initiate the release of any fears that I have about where I work. And underneath it all was the love that I have doing what I do. So really seeing everything that comes up this week, thank you, as a whole process. It's part of a whole process. And what I see is the cycle of stress, allowing that cycle to play itself out. So the fight or flight. Yes, we have the fight, flight, the freeze. What are we doing to allow that cycle to play itself out? So the animal kingdom will shake after a stressful event, or, you know, and bearing in mind that stressful events, excitement can be a stressful event as well. Joy can be a stressful event as well, because stress, fear, excitement, they have all the same hormonal components to them, all the same biochemical reaction in our body. So really looking at, have we completed the cycle? Have we completed the rites of passage? So last night I had a lot of dreams that I would be doing fires for people, and I would be doing a lot more ceremonies, being asked to do a lot more ceremonies, because these rites of passage aren't being completed. And if we don't complete something in a sacred ceremony, whether that's blowing out a candle, whether that's placing someone's ashes in the ground, whether that's having a party to celebrate a birth, if we don't complete these cycles in some form of ceremony, which is actually human nature, we have been raised with ceremony from the, you know, as old as time itself. But if we do not complete with some form of ceremony, we're going to keep running the same patterns. We're going to keep running the same cycle because we haven't finished it. So this week in particular, if you see things coming up on a patterned level, what cycle haven't you completed? What ceremony haven't you finished? And it can be something as simple as, you know, writing a thank you note, burning it, or, you know, doing a dispatch or a sacred prayer bundle, or walking with the earth and releasing it to the earth. But really, it's not about what you do or how you do it. It's about how present we are in the ceremony itself this week. Being really present. So I did enjoy the party this weekend, I really did, but where it was such hard work and keeping it secret for so long, and then the cleaning up afterwards, I wouldn't say I was 100% present in that. So I'll take that on board and find another reason to celebrate my sister's birthday this week, or to celebrate this week. Now I've come back to the puffy eyes, because I actually put makeup on and my skin doesn't like makeup, and it's left my eyes really quite puffy, and it's made it a little bit difficult to see this week, and, you know, it's made them feel quite sore, and I almost want to keep them shut. And that feels quite relevant this week, that we may not want to see certain things, or people around us may not want to see certain things, and to be very mindful of that. It's not our job to open people's eyeballs and make them see, you know, this isn't torturous here. It's up to the individual to be ready to open their eyes when they are, you know, and to take that for me, makeup is like a mask on my face. It's like war paint, to take that war paint off, which brings me on to today's date. So thank you for that. Today is the 8th of May, and the 8th of May 1945 we celebrated VE Day, and we also celebrated the birth of my grandfather on the 8th of May and my niece on the 8th of May. So 8th of May is a really big day for our family, but it's also a day of victory. It's a day of knowing that the war was over. And that is really what I feel, that potential is there, that the war, the internal war, has a huge ability to be over this week if we can just allow things to slot into place. There's a real expectancy in the air. There's almost an excitement in the air. There's a whisper of great light and growth and beauty in the air, there's still some things that need to be laid to rest, and there's still some things that need to be transmuted, and just allowing that to happen, initiating that with some self-love, or if crying for you is a really good way to release things, then maybe watching a soppy movie, or whatever you need to start really bringing in that energy of oxytocin, of love, that's going to help support you to release what's standing in the way of that. So this week, or a couple of weeks ago actually, I had the most beautiful Bowen session, and it turned into a trauma release. And at the time I felt really quite guilty and shameful of releasing all of this energy, but the last few weeks I have noticed that I've been able to remember things in a different way. Now that I've emotionally released some of the trauma, I can actually remember things in a different way, and it's like my mind is allowing me to take happy pictures of what is going on around me, because I've released how I once saw things, and that feels very relevant. The moment we can release how we once saw things, we can actually truly open our eyes this week. If we're going to continue to see things from the perspective we've always seen things, that's all we're going to see. So this week, really being guided to open our eyes, more importantly to open our eyes to ourselves and who we actually are and what we actually bring to the table. Because when we do that, for an example, being guided myself to step back and to witness, when I actually do that, rather than get involved in the energy, I don't feel so aggy because I'm not where my energy shouldn't be. I feel more grounded, centered, rooted, authentic in who I am, more able to hold space. And from that angle, I actually see so much more going on, and I, from that space, have more compassion. I have more light and love for everything that is occurring. So really finding how you see yourself this week is going to be key. Is there anything else with that in mind? Being gentle with the clearing of this vision. That's what I almost see, like a clearing of the vision, and being aware of the scars and the marks and the injuries that may come as a result of seeing things from different angles. Is there anything else? Not looking for things when there isn't anything. Okay, really, really key this week. Not looking for more. One of the things that we can actually really allow ourselves to let go of is that things can be simple and beautiful and human. Yes, so that's the last thing I want to speak about. I saw a post today in a counselling group that I'm part of, and an individual didn't know whether to share what they did for a living. They were being asked what they did for a living, and much as they loved their job, they didn't want to get into a conversation of this is what I do, and then almost be expected to give free counselling. Now, I'm sure we can all relate. I've shared that I used to be a midwife, and I have stories of people's birth, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing in context, and that is really poignant this week. In context, obviously, if you're out, dancing the night away, having a drink, you're being just a normal human person, you don't always want to hear about people's deliveries and things like that. So everything needs to be in context for it to be sacred for that individual as well. I remember years and years ago, when I started dabbling, and I will say dabbling with the tarot, I enjoyed it. I wasn't taking it as seriously or as sacredly as I do now, and I'd be out and I'd be with my friends at a party, and I'll just get the cards out and do a reading, and you soon learn the not so pleasant way that certain things demand a certain amount of respect, okay, and a context within which to be discussed. And that's going to come up this week. If it doesn't feel relevant to discuss something because it's not in the right environment, honour that, because that's part of the rites of passage. That's part of the completion. If we're quickly writing a letter because we want to release something, we just quickly burn it in amongst cooking dinner and everything else, much as that is still ceremony, it's not to its greatest potential. And we're being asked to take things to another level this week in regards to potential and how we apply what we know to everyday life. Because in this post, a lot of people had put when someone asks you what you do for a living, what they're actually doing is finding where you are on the social ladder, and And basically, long and short of it, everyone had avoided the fact that someone was just merely asking what you do for a living, that someone was interested. And that's not to say that there wasn't other connotations or other reasons to investigate that behind it. But this week, if we can just look at things on the surface level, As a society, because things have been so heavy and so in depth, it's almost as if we are losing the ability to be human. We are losing the ability for small talk. We are losing the ability for everyday things, for discussing what went on at the school run, for just chatting to people about bills and problems, and without there being an underlying ancestral, generational, past life cause. That's not to say they don't exist. When it comes to healing, we do inside out, like any wound. Okay, so we go right in and then it knits together up to the surface level, but the surface level is being forgotten. The surface level isn't being discussed. The surface level isn't being held space for. So that wound is never fully closing. This week it's okay to be human. This week it's okay to talk about small talk things. And it's okay to just not like something or love something or be in pain or just experience the human condition, the humanness of life. That is spirituality, and the sooner we can see that as a species, the sooner we can see that as a collective, the sooner we can see ascension, Chakana, heaven to earth, based on normal everyday life, then all life becomes sacred, all life becomes ceremony, all life becomes a ritual then. Okay, so really, it's one thing to look out for insight. What are we going to do about it? How is that relevant? So how is that relevant? Well, this week I really struggled based on that to find a set of tarot cards that are applicable to everyday life, which is relevant for me because I'm in the process of designing one. So it's really great to know that there is a place for what I bring to the table. And it's really beautiful to see that actually one way or another I'm being given space by next year to make room for that. So trying to find a deck that with everyday life, and it isn't, for me, it wasn't what I expected. I thought I would use the Light Seers Tarot because they're normal everyday people and everything else, and I thought I'd use the Mythical Tarot, but that wasn't quite right. What I actually decided to use were cards that have been on my shelf for a long time that I haven't connected to, and that feels quite poignant this week, to bring forth energy that has always been there. I really feel that in my higher heart and my soul wisdom, soul wisdom, to bring forth soul wisdom this week. We haven't been using it. It's almost like we've just scratched the surface. I know that I'm a great witness, but I also know that it normally takes chaos for me to go, whoa, I'm not getting involved. And then I stand back and then I see a different perspective. So far this week, and I will say so far because obviously this week isn't out, but so far this week, it's been a choice. I've decided to embody who I am without the almost the trauma needed to do that. That feels like key. And one of the essences here is to bring forth a wisdom that has always been there on the shelf waiting to come forward. So for me, that's 3 decks that I haven't really used, and that's the Elemental Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. I'm aware that it's an oracle. I'm aware that there's a big thing about oracles and tarot cards, and again, really, really grateful because that's leaving me a wonderful portal to bring through what I'm designing at the moment. But there's a real separation between tarots and oracles. Now these, regardless what set you use, regardless what structure, yes, the tarot have more structure because they're the tree of life, they're the soul's journey, they're in Kabbalah, they're everywhere, okay, they're an underlying universal language. But oracles as well, tarot and oracle work in the same way in that they are keys to the subconscious. So imagery this week is going to be key. What's going to help you open yourself up to a different perspective? That could be artwork, that could be music, that could be movies, that could be the tarot, that could be writing. What's going to help you open your eyes, all of your eyes, to a different perspective this week, because it's there that the soul wisdom is going to come through. So for me, I'm passing on the Moon Eye Key this weekend. We're at the stage of passing on the Seer's rites, the Wisdom Keeper rites, and the Earth Keeper's rites, and that's a real monumental moment for me, because what opens my perspective is the communication from nature and the earth and Pachamama. So they, for me, are the biggest tarot and oracle insights that there is. So really finding this week what helps you open your own vision. So I'm going to use the Elemental Oracle, also the Sacred Rebels, because I love elements and I am a bit of a rebel. And yet I've not used these cards yet, I just haven't. And the Legacy of the Divine, haven't used these either. So it's going to be a real first for me connecting to these live, I guess, live on screen. Yeah, and seeing what actually comes through. And this week, if it is something that you haven't used before, if it's a medium that you haven't used before, don't fear that. You know, you are your own medium, whether it's cards, whether it's runes, whether it's mediumship, whether it's healing. You are your own medium, and that's key this week. And the only way to really discover that is to use different tools. Use different tools so that you realise that actually it doesn't really matter what card or tool you have in your hand, as long as you're open, as long as your perspective is open, then you will get the insight that you require this week. Okay, so doesn't really feel like I need to do a reading, but we'll have a little look. I've got 2 tea bags in my cup by accident. Oh, and it's really nice because it's really nice and strong. Okay. 8 of coins here. So yes, we are talking practical, physical matters this week, you know, contracts, bills, figuring out what it is we want and having the strength to do that. So I have 2 tea bags. Yeah, it reminds me of the 2 of Pentacles. I have 2 tea bags in my cup of tea, really balancing our physical needs, our emotional needs, our spiritual needs this week. Really going to be important because it's mastery here. Okay, so really mastering what it is we're trying to achieve by making sure we are in alignment with that. We have the King of Cups and the Empress trying to come out of the pack. These cards are gorgeous. Why have I not actually worked with these before? Oh my goodness, the imagery is just beautiful. And we're going to find that this week when we connect to wisdom, knowledge that we've had behind us all this time, but not actually used. We're going to have a new profound sense of awareness and appreciation this week. And it's that that's going to change everything. It's that that's going to change our perspective. We don't need the drama or the pain to do that. We really don't. It's just taking time, opening ourselves up. Okay, relaxing our shoulders, putting our butt on the chair, really grounding, breathing this week. Right, energies this week and how to best navigate it, please. Navigate what? Okay. Okay, so it's really important this week to figure out what it is we're trying to navigate. Before we ask for the insights, what is it we're trying to navigate? What is it we're trying to figure out? Because we have the 2 of Cups, the High Priestess, the Page of Cups, and the 7 of Coins here. And what I see is a real growth in who we are, how we see ourselves in the world, the insights that are coming through, and our own sacred union, and an impact on the relationships around us as a result. So I noticed outside that even though it's raining, even though the weather says to rest, there's so much growth going on, and really being aware of that, really being aware of what has already shifted. Before we start to ask for insight, we need to realize what it is we can actually see. Okay, 2 of Wands. Yeah, what are we capable of actually seeing? What are we opening ourselves up to see? We're only going to see from the level that we're able to envision. We're only going to experience something or understand something from the level of our own understanding this week, and to be really aware of that. Okay, energies this week and how to best. And we could go on forever. We could go on forever. That's why we're called the Legacy of the Divine. So this deck is I really feel the ability to channel with this deck, and that will be coming through for people. You know, if we can really take that time to see things in a different way. The Lovers. I've just bought my niece her first set of tarot cards because she's 13 and I don't have a daughter. My son's not really interested. It's not a gender thing. My son's not really interested. I don't have a daughter, but my niece is 13 and she really felt like she was at that age. Now, she isn't into reading tarot cards. She isn't into the stereotypical view of tarot cards, the fortune telling, any of that. But she's an artist and she loves anime, and I got her the most beautiful anime tarot deck. And she looked at me like she actually said, I don't know how to read the cards. It's not about reading them for her, it's about connecting. And I know that they'll probably come through and she'll draw art, or they'll inspire her to do something else. And that's the thing this week, you know, it's not about what we're told something is. It's about opening up and letting something inspire what is needed to be born from us this week. Okay, so I'm just wondering, I was just wondering why I saw the Lovers card for that, because it didn't quite make sense in the deck. And this deck is beautiful because it's asking me to seek deeper. So with the Lovers card, why would I see that in regards to what is inspiring us? Well, there's fear there. There's fear of, I saw Eden straight away, and I saw Eve and Adam, and I saw the serpent, and I saw the apple, and there's fear there of feeding from our own wisdom, the temptation of feeding from our own wisdom. We have the Ten of Swords and the Three of Swords here, and it is very much recognizing the pain that has been caused as we have separated from our own sacred self, and that the only way to heal that is to reconnect to that. The only way to heal a broken heart is to connect to it. Okay, the only way to heal separation is to realize there's no such thing. Okay, so including to the divine legacy, of course. And that's where I really feel that the legacy isn't just about what we leave behind, but what is being asked of us to leave behind. What legacy is being asked of us this week really feels like key. Okay, gosh, yeah, that's making me feel quite grounded, quite spaced out. It feels big. It feels cool. Yeah, we ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, gosh. Right, energies this week. Let's bring it down to a human level. When it feels too big, let's bring it down to a applicable level. But the human level is actually raised up. So realizing that on a human level, we have actually grown. Okay, what we are capable of has actually grown. Energies this week and how to best navigate them. Right, we're going to stop there, yes, with the Ace of Cups. Always going to return to the Ace of Cups this week. Okay, always, what's underneath it all? The heart. How are we flowing? How are we connected to the divine? How well are we embodying the love that we are? Monday, and I felt like I was almost putting words in the way there, and that feels like key this week. Really looking at where we're overcomplicating love with words. Words are not enough, it's our actions. And less is more this week. We can almost just sit and be the love, and people are going to feel that. So Monday we have the Three of Wands. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Overall. Okay. Hang on. Oh, I had a cobweb over one of my pictures. It was really getting on my nerves. An old web, and it's over one of the pictures that I painted that's for the Emperor. And now I know I must get on with painting some other pictures, but it was an Emperor picture. I connected to the Emperor and painted this picture, and there was an old cobweb over it. And that really feels key because this week we have a week of fire. We do have quite a lot of fire energy, especially in the beginning and overall for this week. And really we're being asked to look, and that's where we need to stop and pause. What is it we're being asked to look at? And my eyes are being guided to another deck now, and it's the Strength and the Five of Swords. The strength to say, actually, I'm not going to get caught up in this week. I'm going to look at what I'm being asked to look at this week, which is my relationship with my own divine energy. Okay, and that is really key, because on the Monday we have the Three of Wands. It's that's going to move us forward. But on the Tuesday we have the Two of Wands. In order to move forward here, we need to look at our shadow. In order to move forward here, it's almost like we have to let our shadow take the lead. Our emotions, the bits that we haven't wanted to face perhaps, because that on the Tuesday is going to unlock a treasure chest of opportunities here. And I really feel that in my back. Oh my goodness, I can really feel that in my back. So really grounding this week is going to be key for that to try and come through. What I noticed when I was putting out this deck, and it's going to be really relevant. There isn't any separating of things this week. They are all amalgamating into one. They are all linked into one. halfway through the week I wanted to bring out 3 or 4 cards actually, or was it from the Wednesday onwards? It was from the Wednesday, Thursday onwards. I wanted to just have all the information all in one go on the Wednesday and Thursday, because the Monday and Tuesday there's opportunities to move forward and then backwards, and then forward and then backwards, and there's a bit of impatience there because we have the Hanged Man on the Wednesday. And what we're being asked here is to actually still keep looking for different perspectives, because what we may not realize, even though something looks as if it's an opportunity to move forward, actually it's about having the strength and the patience to wait, because there are many potentials coming in. Which one is a different web? Which one is an opportunity to create something different? Really holding back and waiting for our own flow here, because on the Thursday we have the Knight of Cups, really looking at what is being offered to us based on where we are now. On the Friday we have the World card, and the reason I brought them all together is because they wanted to come together. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are almost like a amalgamation of the energies of the beginning of the week and the end of the week. Smack bam in the middle is where we get that tipping point, okay? And it's going to come from a different perspective and our ability to flow with who we now are. What is being offered to us needs to be offered to us on the level of where we are, not where we were or where we would like to be, okay? And that, that's going to bring up a few physical aspects here, because on the Saturday we have the 5 of Coins, okay, and it's got, what can you do it for me? Can't you just top up my cup? I'm so tired. Can't you just? And actually, this week in particular, we're going to get people reflect back what we're actually capable of, and we may not feel that. We may feel as if actually I'm really not there at the moment, and I just need someone to give me the answers. I just need someone to do it for me, and that's not going to bode well, because on the Sunday it's that we're being asked to let go of. This holding on to who we once were, this holding on to feeling safe, this holding on to seeing things from a rigid perspective, because that's all we want to open our heart up to. We're being asked to open our heart more. I did actually wonder about the 6-6 portal, because it felt like after the 5-5 things had calmed down, and that's going to be an illusion this week. It's going to be an illusion that things have calmed down. They have, but what we're being asked to do is embody those changes, actually really step into what has occurred. Have we let go? Have we completed things? Are we more open than what we were? Do we see things from a different perspective? Have we opened up the treasure of wisdom and knowledge that is available within us? If not, we're going to be shown this week where we haven't. And it's going to start from Monday. It's going to start with our shadow aspect. Remembering that anything that comes up this week is to help us unlock our own potential here. To see ourselves from a different perspective, so that we can flow with our place here and what is being asked of us, rather than this not poverty-stricken notion. It's not even poverty-stricken now. It's how we've gained our strength before. We've hit rock bottom and we've risen. We've battled against the odds. We've been at war and we've conquered. It's VE Day, victory. Actually, let's let go of that. Let's let go of that and recognise with the 8 of Wands that we were always directly connected to this energy. We were always directly, the Ace of Cups, connected to this divine legacy. Okay, really stopping that battle within ourselves this week. So I'm going to break that down. We have two major arcanas, and it's the Hanged Man and the World card. Yes, it is time to see ourselves from a different perspective. It is time to see ourselves as the embodied Christ consciousness, as the Buddha enlightenment, as the I want to say acrobat. I don't know why I want to say acrobat, but I want to say acrobat. The ability to flip over things, to turn things on their head, to transmute what is going on around us. And now there's something here in this World card. There's something here with the fact that he stood on a timer. Really looking at our own grounding into the essence of time itself. How do we see time? Past lives, the past, the present, the future. How do we see all these perspectives? I can guarantee you, if you look back over your whole life, there will be patterns related to who you are. The information has been there. I really feel that behind my eyes and in my heart. The symbolism of your soul has been there. And this week it's really about being able to see that current sand of time that has flowed through you the whole way through, not what has initiated it. It's not about focusing on what initiates who you are. It's about remembering who you are. It's not external this week, guys, it's internally. Okay, so we have, and it's quick because we have 3 wand cards. We have creative energy here, but we have the 3 of wands, 2 of wands and 8 of wands, and it's important to get that in order. It may not feel, so we may be ready to move forward and then almost having to take a step back, and we may think, well, that's not right, we should be taking a step back, witnessing, and then ready to move forward. Flip the narrative. Okay, so really looking at time from a different perspective, seeing the ability and the knowing and the willingness to move forward as a great step. Okay, and then stepping back and allowing it to happen. Being aware of intention this week is going to really shift things along. We then have 2 cup cards, which is a beautiful balance. We have judgment underneath. Well, we'll get to the judgment in a minute. We have 2 cup cards. Actually, we need to get to that now. Okay, really feel that in my third eye. Really feel it more on the right side towards the masculine side. And we do have the Knight of Cups and the Ace of Cups here, and we do have judgment underneath. Being very aware of our own judgment in regards to the masculine actions, trusting the heart of others, trusting our connection to our heart and our connection to the divine this week is going to be key. Because yes, sometimes things haven't worked out how we would have liked. Doesn't mean they haven't worked out. Really, if we're going to open our vision here, if we're going to open our perspective here, it's time to start seeing bigger, beyond any judgment. And then we have the Emperor underneath. So we then have 2 Pentacle cards, which are the 4 and 5 of Pentacles. And again, being very aware of the order. So the 5 came first and then the 4. Okay, so being aware of the order may be all over the place this week in regards to how we do things spiritually and the physical impact that has. And what I'm seeing here is it's this feeling like nothing's changing, feeling like nothing is, this real, can't find the hope, can't find the light forward, can't find the way out. That is the narrative that we're holding on to here. So being very aware of playing small and holding on to that. So today I wondered whether or not I had anything worth sharing. Not in a, have I got anything worth sharing, but before the cards. And, I tried to figure it out as a result. What will I talk about? And I stopped myself. This week, remembering when it comes to sharing things, if we feel as if we don't have anything worth sharing, we never will. And that wisdom, that soul wisdom, will never be part of the collective. It will never be part of the symbolism of the world. You'll never get to actually stand in your full potential. You're worth sharing. Whatever it is you want to share, there's always someone that needs your wisdom, your medicine. Show up. Press record on the camera, double check that I am, or whatever it may be in life, pick up the phone, whatever it is. Show up and just be you. Just be you this week, because there's a real mentality there of it not being good enough, but also holding on to that because it's almost easier to hold on to that. But I also feel a little bit of a narcissistic relationship trauma thing going on here. So really looking at who we connect to and what it is they're reflecting back to us and why we feel we need to connect to that this week. And being responsible with that, because we have the Emperor underneath that, really being solid. Again, we had the cobweb over the Emperor, really being solid and responsible with what it is we are creating. Remembering when we remove something, when we release something, when we complete something, when we destroy something. Being aware that's what we do. That's, when we're releasing something, completing something, we're ending something. Okay, being aware of that, but then also recognizing what it is we are recreating as a result. What web are we weaving here? We then have the 7 of Wands underneath. There is still quite a bit of defensive energy. And it is in regards to, actually, what is it in regards to? I was going to say it is in regards to, but no, this is all old stories. This is all old stories that are easy to talk about and easy to navigate. So no, we're going to put those to one side. We're going to move on to the elemental oracle. It's emotions. It is emotions. It is our ability to work with our emotions, to not be ruled by our emotions, to allow our emotions to do what they came here to do. When we cry, we release. When we feel passion, we create. When we have emotions, we love, or we cry, or we laugh, or these emotions, they're all so very important. They all have a job to do. They're all the elements within us: earth, air, fire, water. So what do they want to say to us this week? What is it? What is this story? It is the story that we have with our emotions. That's the lovers. It is the story that we have with the wisdom that they can bring. So what's the story, Morning Glory? That's what I want to say. Okay. Let's have one card for any guidance in regards to, I wanted to say the elemental us. Okay, so we have powered by volcanoes and fire. So I'm not going to look up the energy yet because we have the 8 of fire here, which reminds me very much of the 8 of wands. Now you can see that this is a woman. Okay, so it is the feminine energy dancing with that creative spark. Okay, and you have the pentagram here in the background, all the elements, the 5th element, that's what I hear. Really dancing with that creative spark this week, allowing that to ignite us, not to fear that, because we then have power of volcanoes. Now this here doesn't look male or female. It looks no gender at all here, but it almost looks as if we've gone from the human, feminine, shed any physical humanness here and almost moved up to a higher ascended. Interesting, I wanted to put the human as a higher ascended energy. Really changing that perspective, okay. And recognizing that we are powered by the very force of volcanoes. So that ambition, that drive, that sexual energy, that creative force that's coming through this week, really respecting that, really learning how to dance with that, to find our rhythm with that, to use it to end and not destroy. Because underneath we have completion, which is the West, the missing piece, the jigsaw piece here, the missing piece. And you can see, I mean, I might look up what these mean, I might not, but you can see it's almost like the brain here. It looks like a picture of the brain at the top, and then I see the pineal gland, and obviously this is what I see. Be very interesting to see what everyone else sees this week. Maybe doing that, maybe taking a whole new perspective and just being interested in how other people see the world. You know, I think as a species we get so wrapped up in trying to get our view across, to be heard, to be seen. Really it's us that needs to hear and see ourselves. But when we do that, we don't listen. We don't want to take on the views of others, or we fear about taking on the views of others, which means we shut down to them completely. Now, when we do that, we're missing a lot of jigsaw puzzle pieces. You know, imagine that if every person that came into your life had a piece of a collective jigsaw. No, I'm not interested in that based on judgment. I don't want to know that. We can still be grounded in what we believe and be open to the stories and the webs of others, and then use that as a jigsaw piece to create an incredible picture of what is going on this week. Because we then have to make equal the equator. A lot of shadow and light work going on here. A lot of shadow and light work going on here. And underneath, that's the last one I'm going to do, we have light, which is the sun. So yes, we can see this energy this week as an individual perspective. Learn to dance with the fire. Not to be afraid of it. To start really creating with the power of who we are. To remember that we, like the volcanoes, also have the ability to destroy things. Okay, so really respecting that, and others, for the completion that that's going to bring, the missing jigsaw pieces this week, the balance, whatever comes up from our darkness, really embracing that, seeing that for what it is, the balance that it's bringing, and remembering the true power of light, which is the sun. Does it give you life? What you're feeling, you know, the sun gives everything life and helps it to grow. Does it give you life? Does it help you grow? Be honest this week. You know, we can get very comfortable with surrounding ourselves, especially, and I will say it, in the spiritual community, surrounding ourselves with people that agree with our view. People that, you know, are the same energy as us, and oh, it's so comfy and cozy, we found our tribe, and absolutely. However, do we grow? We can grow from love, we can grow from being nurtured, but if we continually push away ideas, opinions, values, beliefs that aren't ours, that don't support ours to be right, then we're losing a lot of information there. We're losing a lot of wisdom there about ourselves. Because if something triggers us, it triggers us for a reason. If something brings up our dark shadow, it's for a reason. And, you know, like myself with that trauma release this week, last week, I'm losing track of time, whenever it was, ongoing, releasing that allowed me to make space for the love that was underneath it, the light that was underneath it, really seeing that this week. We do have the ability to really just crash through everything, destroy everything this week. It's about learning how to dance with our own light and our own darkness, okay? Because we can't have one without the other. They are one and the same. Really discovering that by looking at what gives us life, what helps us to grow. It might not always be comfortable. People, empowering you to do what you came here to do may not be comfortable. You may want to be in your cave, your shell, where you are, and that's fine. We don't want it to be traumatic growth. It's finding that rhythm this week of the Two of Wands, the Three of Wands. I'm ready to move forward. Now I take a pause. I'm ready to move forward. Now I take a pause. Okay, really finding your own natural flow this week. But that does include growing. Right, so I'm not going to look up the meanings. We're going to trust. And then we're going to look at Alana Fairchild, the Sacred Rebels. And, right smack bam at the top of the pack, we have Visions of Life Beyond Death. Number 44. Okay, so we have that Emperor energy and the Strength energy when we round that up. But we have stability and we have foundations here and we have wisdom. Really trusting our own interpretation of things. The more we trust what we know, the less triggered we are by other people's opinions, because we know that we've gained what we have learned through walking that path, and that's what they're doing. Okay, so if we can really trust in visions beyond what is occurring, the changes, the necessary shifts, the death that is happening right now, if we can really trust in our own wisdom this week, we're less likely to be rattled by the opinions of others, and we can actually see them with curiosity. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I never thought of it that way. Really discovering that this week, because underneath we have what is already with you. The transformations that have occurred, those butterflies there in your own hands. We're not being asked to do anything, one, that we haven't already done in different ways, and that's that person standing on the timer, recognizing the steps that you have already done, and we're not being asked to do anything that we're not capable of this week, okay? But it's just changing our perspective, seeing ourselves for our true potential. So one card for that. Heaven sent. Look how divine that energy is. What number is it? 33. Okay, so there's a lot of mastery going on here this week, and a lot of support as well. And recognizing that those that trigger us are support too. Their support helping us to acknowledge and embrace all aspects of ourselves. To love all parts of ourselves, even the parts of us that are like, oh, I don't like that opinion. Okay, why? And it's okay. You don't have to fix it, but learn from it and discover more about yourself, because everything in our life has the potential, now it's not to say that it is, but has the potential to be heaven sent, depending on our perspective. And underneath we have collaborative dreaming, diving for the light, number 11. Okay, so I am going to, I was just thinking, why am I going to look that up? But I am, number 33, the only one I'm going to look up. Interesting. The only one I want to look up is 33, which is the Christ consciousness. The hanged man energy of the original reading. The one that I feel like I need more information on this week. Okay. Just as we receive gifts in the physical world through the thoughtfulness of others to acknowledge how much we mean to them, so too we receive gifts on other levels, including the spiritual level. A spiritual gift is something that happens through grace. We can ask for help and it may be given in response to that request. All requests for help are answered. A spiritual gift can also be given without us asking for anything at all, at least not consciously. Sometimes it is our heart that cries out for help. While we are busy getting on with our to-do list, we don't often stop to think about what our hearts might need. If we do, an immediate solution is not obvious. We just get on with life, either letting the issue be or taking the more painful option of dwelling on it without seeing how it might be resolved. However, there is a loving benevolence in life that knows exactly what we need and how it can best come to us, even when we're not quite so clear ourselves. This force actively seeks to assist us in walking our life path. That loving sweetness is being offered to you now or soon will be in the form of a spiritual gift. The spiritual gift may be symbolic. It may be something that seems ordinary but holds a lot of meaning for you. It may be an object that catches your eye and mesmerizes you. You might think you are appreciating how lovely it looks, but it's the underlying energy that captures you. Something in the appearance, colour or shape speaks to you and is perhaps answering an unspoken prayer. It's not the object that is the gift, that is just the wrapping. The actual gift is subtle yet effective empowerment. It is like a spiritual booster shot that helps you move forward in life with additional zing, extra strength and greater peace. You will be empowered to accomplish tasks that you may have nearly but not quite been able to manage on your own through the bestowal of a spiritual gift. The spiritual gift may or may not be recognisable to you. It may be very obvious, an offer, a windfall, a trip, a friendship, a new lover, or a remarkable healing in a current relationship. It might be far more subtle and even more powerful, such as a jolt of energy that allows you to perceive things differently all of a sudden, and perhaps solve a problem that has been plaguing you. It will be bestowed as and when it is needed in the form that will best serve the love in you. This oracle also brings you the message, let yourself be helped. Assistance is coming your way, so act on it and say yes. If you have also drawn the oracle of collaborative dreaming, wow, which we actually have, gosh, okay, then the message is amplified. And that's really interesting because they're not next to each other. So that's really interesting in the book. So then the message is amplified. It is very significant as the assistance is coming from the hand of life itself. Trust it. My head's being tickled. This oracle also comes with the message that you are to trust in the things that you feel and say to others without knowing why. Bit of a telling off there. It moves them. You might not understand, but through your trust, you are allowing yourself not to overthink and censor yourself. Really important this week, guys, that we just share who we are. As such, you are able to become a vessel through which the spiritual gift can be passed on to others. Don't block yourself. Let life happen through you. Let life happen through you. Oh, that's just, I can always see me tattooing that on my skin. That's just amazing. That's my heaven sent gift. That is my heaven sent gift to myself. I will get that tattooed, I think. Only benefit can come from this. If you have drawn any other card in addition to this one, it acts as a wild card and an amplifier. Whenever you draw the Oracle of Heaven Sent in addition to another card, the universe really wants your attention. It is saying, look, love is speaking to you directly here, so pay attention. Really feel the truth of what is being said and trust it. You are being helped. It is simple to receive the gift that is headed your way. The healing process below will activate that for you. So the healing process is to say these words. Hand on your heart. Through unconditional love, I now accept the spiritual gifts that are bestowed upon me with complete trust and gratitude. So be it. I really felt that in my chest, like, I'm doing what? I'm doing what now? I thought I already had. Okay, so we did have collaborative dreaming right next to it, and that feels like all the way through that explanation, the reason I needed to look that up was to recognise that they go hand in hand. Okay, heaven sent collaborative dreaming. Any dream that you have, anything that you've been trying to achieve this week isn't just your dream. It is a big web that is being asked to be weaved of you. It's a collaborative dream here, which means we need to be open to the views of others because it isn't just about us. It's something far bigger than us on an individual level that's being asked to be created. It is heaven sent. There is support there, and that support could be in those people that we may not agree with. It could be in those people that may trigger us. It could be in those people that are asking us to grow and match the energy that we're trying to embody. So for me, to be a witness, to do that just with people that I'm comfortable with isn't actually being the potential witness that I could be. So really looking at that this week, where am I being asked to grow in this situation, this heaven sent gift? How am I being asked to embody part of my aspect of the collaborative dreaming that is occurring? Take care. Have the most incredible week. It's going to be a humdinger, exciting one, or it could be. And I'm really, really looking forward to speaking to you next week to see what has happened. Take care.